So, I want to start this off saying I've seen episodes of The Boys, and it is a pretty good show. But, and I've seen Invincible, that's also great. But one of the things I feel is shows like this that are like sort of meta commentaries on superheroes and all that, I do feel they're starting to have like their sort of own contrivances. They're like, oh, let's show a dark and gritty take on what it'd be like if superheroes were real and they're around. And it seems like the biggest trope I've noticed is basically make Superman evil and go from there. It feels like that's the thing that you basically have to do in one of these dark superhero meta commentary shows. And I think the appeal is, and this leads up into the second rule, is you've got to have superheroes who you can recognize who they're supposed to be based off of. Like, you've got to have somebody who's like, oh, this is their Wonder Woman, or oh, this is their Spider Man, or the Flash, or their Iron Man. And it's funny. It's one of those things where, like, we know who these characters are supposed to be, but they're not exactly those characters because Marvel and DC would take legal action. And it's funny, that's how they get away with it. But yeah. So right now, like, I think Netflix has their Jupiter Legacy or whatever show, which again is another dark, realistic meta commentary on superheroes. And I haven't even seen it, but just watching the bits and pieces, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I've got a grasp on things. Um, it just makes me wonder how much longer can we do stuff like this? I can't help wondering if we keep doing so many like dark meta commentaries on superheroes that eventually we're going to go back to the things they were initially referencing. Because the trouble with meta is it has to be a commentary on something you have a base of reference for. Now, if this becomes the standard, then you lose that base of reference. And so it loses the effect. Like, I think that Zack Snyder with Batman vs. Superman, he actually did the most interesting thing with like meta commentary and stuff, because it wasn't a dark, gritty, realistic way, and it did ask the question, okay, what would you do with somebody who had like almost godlike powers? And would he be evil? And how do you go about countering that? Interestingly enough, I think it's the most original take on the whole what would it be like if superheroes were really here kind of shtick. And I think when we do get so meta, eventually, I've said it before, it's going to lead back to the tropes that they were originally ripping on. Because it used to be superhero movies were thought of as, oh, that's not realistic, or that wouldn't happen, that's so cheesy. And the point of that was, kind of escapism. But eventually, the world got so dark, post 9/11, that we just couldn't stomach it. But here's the way it all kind of circles round. I mean, the world is already so dark, and the superhero movies, they've gotten so, well, we have to be realistic. And shows like The Boys and Watchmen, they take it to such a degree, I think we're going to go back to the pure escapism. it won't be 100% like it used to be, but, you know, it's that thing of for every action there's an opposite or equal reaction. You go so far in one direction that eventually I think you're going to sling back in another direction. So, who knows? It'll be interesting to see how long it takes, or if just superhero movies, they get grim to a level like, I can't believe it went there. Or if it will swing back to the lighthearted, just pure escapism that's totally flies in the face of logic. We'll see.